it's Pat Sloan here. So we've got lots of great things today, including Black Wednesday. We have the last two corners. We're going to do that at the end. I've got a critter update, and it's a really good update. You'll want to see this, be a little bit into this because I have some other things to show you first. Okay, first of all, there's lots and lots of days of the month that have themes. So today is Holding Hands Day, which I think is a lovely, lovely way to show your friendship, hold hands. And then yesterday was Friends Day. And so I think it would be great if you showed a quilt that you made for a friend. I think that would be awesome because I know a lot of you have made quilts for friends. So show those today in my group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan at Facebook. It is also Elvis week because, the king gets a whole week. He doesn't just get a day. So I want to show you my quilt again. I did a quilt for the book Inspired by Elvis by Donna DeSoto. She is the author of the book, and she invited a bunch of people to come and do quilts for the book. And so this is mine, Inspired by Elvis. And we each had to have a song, like our quilt. You didn't have to have your quilt look like the song or anything like that. But my song was called Patch It Up, which is a song from, 1970. I had to check that. So it's one of the songs he did in 1970. And then on the back, I had some great Elvis fabric that I had collected. So I had a lot of Elvis fabric. And so that was used in here, sort of, found different parts that I could put in here and use from the Elvis fabrics that I collected, which was so fun. So fun. And the whole book has different interpretations of Elvis's songs, all in that book. It's a fabulous book for any Elvis fan. Now, I got the scrappy binding on the Halloween quilt. Ta-da! So first, take a look at a little close-up of working with scrappy binding because it has a lot of seams. So I'm getting ready to put the binding, this scrappy binding, onto the Haunted Halloween. I'm going to go ahead and use the gray, and this is Orfil 2620. You can see the Orfil number there, and I'm going to just pop the end off, and I can, there's the tail, so that I can get the tail. And the gray, I think, will be nice against all the different colors on here. So since it's going to be, binding will have different colors, and I'm going to just do straight on it. You see? Yeah, it looks good. So now, the other thing is going to be that these seams are off. I've got 4 corners. I do not want any seams to hit the corner. So when I get about this close, if there is a seam that looks like it's going to be at the corner, I will stop over here. I will cut it and make a new seam so the seam is here and I go past. Here you can see this seam is just right, just a 1/4 inch, or maybe more than 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch maybe from the edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm up here, I'm just going to back stitch. I'm going to cut right here, I can cut it down here even. I just need to move this seam up. So I cut it a little bit like right here and move the seam up. See there, I did a cut, and now what I will do is, let me just release that, is I will take these and sew them like this to make a new seam up here. Like that. Here is the new seam. So when I'm open, I come like this, and now I'm down and past having a seam here. This one's close, but it's going to work out okay. When I turned it, that other seam was further down, so it didn't get up into the corner. I do absolutely love the way it turned out. So here it is. Now you can see how it looks, and then I use the gray thread to do the top stitch to secure it. Would you believe every corner, all 4 of these corners had black fabric? I couldn't believe that. Look, black ended up, and there's number 4. I was shocked. I was like, what? How did that happen? Now I do actually like it when the colors were closer together. Here's like one section. They were a little shorter units than like up here. They're longer units, but that also meant a lot more seams. I was lucky this time. I just had the one place that I had to redo, like I showed you. That was the only one. The others were good. And then the backing. So there I did the 4-patch with some of the fat quarters that were left from, that I didn't use in the front from the bundle. And then I have a hanging sleeve. So it's just a sleeve here so that I can hang a rod through it. And I match that up. Although the fabrics are this way instead of vertical. Oh well, that's what happens, you know. I also wanted to show you the cross stitch for that. Now I have decided that I am going to just do, I'm just going to do the moon. I may end up breaking down and doing the bat. I might do the bat, but I'm not going to do all 4. There's something in each corner. Here, I'll pop a picture up. And it is super darling with the things in all the 4 corners, but I know myself and I would like to have this finished. I also was looking through some stuff they have and I thought, I know what border I want to put on it. I'm pretty sure. We'll see how it goes. Pretty sure. One or the other. I want to get these checked. So let me show you what I have here. Let me pull this down. So there we go. Here we go. There are Chelsea of the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch does some fabric for Henry Glass, and I love these checks. So she has a line of so she's colored checks, and I was thinking that either the pumpkin check might be super cute for this. You know, there would be, I'm going to put a little border around it and make it a pillow. So I don't know. I like this mottled gray. So I want to leave a bunch of that, but there. So that would be like the Halloween check. And the other one would be the black and white. The black and white check. That's also looks really, really good. So either one of those, I think it's what I'll do, but I am going to just do the moon and then maybe do the bat, which I think is up here. So now her other colors of this, besides here, I flipped through quick. There's like a purple and a sort of a raspberry red. So not true red. It's like a very blue red, right? Like a raspberry. This is a regular red, and then a teal, blue, light gray, which is really lovely. So a light orange. So see it has the white background, a yellow, and another turquoise. So these two, one's more green. Do you see this one's more green and that one's more blue? And then there's actually the blue one. So there's the 3. You can see the differences. But you can get this pack. You can get a whole pack like this, and then you have all the colors, so you know what you want. Let me put that over there. Speaking of, well, wait. Let me just do this next, because we're still in the Halloween. So when I finished the Halloween, I had this much binding left, which I could actually kind of bind the pillow around the outside. Sometimes I've done that. I've taken the front and the back of the pillow, instead of putting the right sides together and then flipping them inside out, sometimes I will put them wrong sides together and just put binding all around them. So this might be kind of cute to say for that. But I want to tell you, I had like, well, I don't know what you would call it, because I've known this for a while, but I keep trying, and I've decided I'm not trying anymore. Because, you know, sometimes you do things over and over and over again, and you do it the same way and nothing changes. It could be in quilting. It could be in your job. It could be in how you raise your kids, whatever it is. Although there's factors there that are outside of your control. But you know, you do something and you do the same thing, but you never get different results. It's always the same result, and it's a result you don't want. So for me, get to the point, Pat. Get to the point. For me, binding. I have discovered that I do not use leftover binding. I never use it. I have saved it for years. I eventually go to my basket or my bin where the binding is. I root through it. I get rid of these ones that I've saved. This is the one that was from the Mikasa. Although I'm thinking there's another quilt coming up that I still have some of this fabric, so I could make a second binding and use it towards that. If I make that decision, oh, I know, I'm thinking of the critters. So we'll look at that. I'll hold that for the critters. But if I decide not to use it, I'm not keeping it. I'm going to put it in the scrap bin and off it'll go. But this one I might keep and maybe make for this pillow. Maybe do a scrappy binding on that gingham. Okay, so those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on that. But I'm not keeping any more of those leftover bindings. If you have, tell me what it is. Tell me what it is that you have done over and over and over again. The results are always the same, and they're not the results you want. Like, I want to use the leftover bindings, but when it comes to it, I'm always like, no, nothing there works. I don't like it. I have to make new binding, and I'm just not going to keep them anymore. You know, if it just is ridiculous to save it. It's silly. But tell me if you have the same thing, so I don't feel alone. I don't want to be alone. I also, my book, my Teach Me to Quilt, is now back in publication with C&T Publishing. So this is the second book that I now have back in print, and that is it. So none of my other books are in print except for the older ones. There's a couple of Leisure Arts books, I believe, that are still in print. Otherwise, Leisure Arts has some of my books in PDF form. And so whenever I reference them, I will show them to you and link to the PDF. Otherwise, all my other books are now just on the secondary market. There's just the two, the Tantalizing Table Toppers, which I so happen, here we go. These are my two that you can get for print copies. So I'm very excited for C&T to be printing these for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah. If you're a teacher, this is fabulous. It's a best-selling teaching book. It is step-by-step instructions for your students to take home. It is awesome, if I don't say so myself. It is done really well for people. I've had lots of teachers write and tell me that it's worked so well for them. Now, let's talk about the critters. And I'm going to run a little clip here to get us started, and then I will hold it up, but you're going to see it outside too. So let's go. I'm pinning on the last section. Got it over here because it's kind of bulky. I decided I would just do it over here on the ironing board. So I've got the main part of it done. I'm just putting on the bottom row, which has the shark, and the Nelly, the Loch Ness monster. And I'm going to go ahead and use this blue. I did use a couple little slivers of it in the project, or at least something similar. And this will be just a tiny border to sort of lock in all the outer edge, just to give it that little finishing look. And then I most likely will just bind it in the same thing, because I think that blue will work really, really well, since there's so much blue in this. Okay. Let me get this done. There it is. Have it hanging up. It looks so good. It's so exciting to be able to see it from a distance, like a little bit, because I can't get far enough away from it in the studio on the wall. Look how great everything is. It all came together so pretty. It's darling, darling, darling. Thank you everybody who sent all of these animals, all of these critters. So I'll do a little close-up here. So we've got up at the top the fish, and then my little, from the part center, the little fishing shack. Got the bee and the pig. Oh, we got a little breeze going now. Got the panda and the puffin. Look how sweet he is. And then the swan and the gecko or the lizard. Remember I did these little square into squares with the beach fabric. Got our whale and our lobster out here. I love how this turned out too. We got a little house. We've got two little houses on this end. We've got the bird standing on the toucan's head, the long-legged bird. Got a little ladybug, and the, oh, why can I never remember his name? A lemur, is that it? The parrot, the snail, my crab, and my butterfly. I've got a little snake down there. He's friendly, a little friendly snake. And a little friendly, great shark. Shark. There we go. And Nessie, the Loch Ness monster, with the little hugs and kisses from, well, hugs, kiss, hug, from my part center. And the butterfly fabric, remember? I just centered that on there. That turned out so good. Okay. Oh wait, forgot to show you this. Remember I said I would do just a little bit of a border on it. Not a lot, just a little bit, just to sort of lock in all those edges. Now we're going to get some backing and it will go to the spa to be quilted. So you saw it outside really well, and I just, here it is, back in the house. So I am going to get it folded up and ready with the backing that I'm going to show you for the spa. So the backing, now what we did, one of our friends sent the beautiful green jungly background, but that doesn't really go with this particular critter. So I'm going to save the green jungly background for one of the other quilts where I will put more green into it, and it'll work really well for one of those. This one needs a blue. So I'm going to use my wide back from Sleepover. So I've got these great big flowers, and the blue is just perfect with the blues that are in this quilt. Now the other thing I have is whether this stripe, let me just flip this inside out here so you can see it. So this is the stripe I use for Mikasa, and I do have some left. So I'm thinking this might be maybe a binding on here. If it's not this, I would use the same binding here, this little outer rim that I put on, which is my friend Bev McCulloch's fabric. So I'm going to keep this binding in the critter box. And speaking of the critter box, let's look at that real quick, because I now have, just real quick, I have this whole stack. Put this over here. I have this whole stack, and I need to keep some of this and put it in the box. And then I'll work on the second critter quilt after I take a little break, because I have some other things I have to do. But I'm not going to keep all of these in here. I'm just going to keep some of them. This was the Firefly group, so I'm going to keep that in there for maybe a future one. So I have to whittle down this, put things back in their regular bins, and get this back on the shelf. Now, speaking of critters, oops, hold on. Speaking of critters, we have a new critter from one of our friends. This is coming from Rita in Arizona. And so Rita in Arizona sent me a critter because she said nobody had done this one yet. And it was on her mind. It was on her mind because she thought it would be perfect for one of the quilts. And so she decided to finally do it herself, since she wasn't seeing anybody else making it. So it is, I have to read this. It is a blue-throated macaw. Macaw. Yeah, there we go. Look how amazing and gorgeous this is. Orifil Threads did an endangered species series. They did it a couple years ago, and this was designed by Cassandra Beaver, who did, I think, all the designs that year for the endangered species. And it is paper pieced. It is gorgeous. A link to it will be down in the description box and at my critter page. So this will go in with all the other critters. Thank you so much, Rita. It is amazing. So amazing. I love it. And then if a couple people have asked me, can you still send critters? Sure. It would be nice if a few of you sent some smaller blocks, because you see how much trouble I had on this one, where I got to the point where I had little places that it would have been great to put in, like I put in that ladybug, but I need like 6-inch blocks or smaller of bugs or little animals. I mean, you can, some patterns that you can make them 6-inch size. Like there was the pig, which I believe was a 6-inch size. So if you want to send me a few smaller ones for the future quilts, because there are going to be at least 3 other quilts. I just think that I can't smush them into 2 more. There's too many. It's going to be 3. So that'll be 4 total. But if you have an animal that you really want to make me, please send it. All right, let's look now at the last blocks for festival and fireworks. The last 2 of my blue ribbon blocks for festival and fireworks. And so these 2 will go on the bottom, down in those 4 corners, and then the entire quilt will be able to be sewn together. And next week we will share, the royal we, have your whole top done, and I'll take it out on the clothesline and show the whole thing with everything sewn together. That'll be so good. Also, for those of you who are following Kendall Taylor, our ambassador, if you're not following him, get on over there and subscribe to his channel. Between our ending next week and when we start the next Block Wednesday later in September, Kendall is going to be running a free little quilt along, which is so darling. Take a look. How cute is this with the bunnies and the blossoms? And so the patterns are free, and he has tips and tricks, and he will be sewing that, and you can follow along with him just for something fun to do in between. Okay, there you go. That is this this assignment for Wednesday, your Wednesday assignment. And also, if you have an Elvis quilt, of course, share your Elvis quilt. Here's one of the other corners. I love that one. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.